The Current Seafood Counter right there is that College Park?
Yep.
Yeah, it's College Park. And I am there all the time. I love fish sandwiches. I'm gonna talk about something different today.
Yep.
Today I'm gonna talk about Old Bay French fries. They are underappreciated. French fries, perfectly fried with fresh Old Bay on them, and then you douse them with a little bit of malt vinegar. Might be my favorite fries in the world. They're so damn good.
Also, I don't know if you saw this, but I follow the Current Seafood Counter, and on their social media, they announced a new location opening up right near the studio.
Oh, no. Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even know this.
There is a new location of the Current opening up soon. And I believe it's on Colonial. I'll find out. I mean, if you follow the Current Seafood Counter.
So even closer to me. Great. I'll be taking Maisie there probably pronto, man. That's awesome.
They also have Curtis Earth Trivia on Mondays at the Current in College Park. And here's the tell that the Current Seafood Counter does an awesome job. They're opening up the third location.
Yeah. People like it.
A restaurant that doesn't do well doesn't open up the third location fast.
Well, it's easy. Like you walk to the counter. I'll walk you through it. You walk to the counter. You select your beer or cocktail. $7 cocktails. Coastal cocktails are great. Or you pick a sandwich. Sandwich comes with fries. It's so simple, right? It's like the simplest thing. You can get hush puppies. You can get, they have pastas. On Wednesdays, they do specials. You can get a grouper sandwich. You can get a black and mahi sandwich.
Yeah.
Maisie likes peel and eat shrimp with, just all the butter and the garlic all over them.
Po' boy.
Yeah, you can get a po' boy. Andrea last week got I think she did get a po' boy. It was like a fried clam po' boy but it was great. Like everything there is like really, really tasty. It's super, super good food.
Delicious seafood that won't break the bank. It's counter service.
Yeah,
they have craft cocktails.
Bring your dog and sit
beer.
outside.
Yeah. It's the Current Seafood Counter in College Park and Sanford, and going to be a new location on Colonial. Welcome back to A Corporate Time. We've got some guests in the studio.
We do indeed.
Jeff and Casey Howell are here. How you guys doing?
Howdy.
I like
Good.
how Tom waited right until Jeff took a sip of his water.
Yeah.
And then introduced you. So Jeff,
Microphone.
hey, good to see you guys. What's going on?
Good to see you.
Y'all?
Well,
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy
New Year.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's 2024 already.
I know. I've been doing that all morning.
Have you?
And today is a very special day in American history.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, obviously you know that today's the day that true patriots took up arms and stormed the Capitol.
Yeah.
And we should all celebrate that.
You know what's funny is my sister's birthday is January 6th. And I've never been able to remember it until after that happened.
Exactly.
So I kind of thank those people.
Yeah.
Closer
Exactly.
to my sister,
something.
It didn't mean anything before.
It's a happy accident.
Dumb day that was.
Very good to see you guys. So, go ahead, Tom.
I like the guy that doo-dooed on the desk.
I do too. He doesn't get talked about enough.
Because we all have had fantasies about doing that on our boss's desk.
Oh, my God.
And
especially
me.
Jeff does. Me too. I mean, Jeff knows me.
Not funny. Not funny.
But you know mine. I'm ready to go. I'll do it now. I'll do it right now.
You know how many times I'm like, I would do that at Linda Bird's desk, Chris Kampmeyer. That was my fantasy.
All of them.
But I never had the balls to do it, and that guy did. So hats off to him.
Yeah, that guy.
Horns off to him.
Yeah, horns off. You lived your dream.
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah. I've always wanted to crap on someone's desk, steal a laptop, and wear a horn hat.
So, what'd you guys do for New Year's Eve?
I didn't work for the first time in years, so that was a nice gift. That was a nice change of pace.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so this is like the first time in how many years would you say that you didn't have to work that night?
Oh, how long have we been doing this?
3 years.
Yeah, it's 3 years too long.
Right.
5 years.
I like how, and Jeff will relate to this, younger men, when they're like, we did 3 years, that's too long. 3 years. 3 years.
It's been like 7, so.
No, but even 7 years in the space when you're an older man.
Yeah.
Like 7 years ends up being nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like 7, even
7
10
years? That's how long I was in high school.
Yeah. It is funny how, like, for me, like, sometimes I think of how long I've just been broadcasting.
Yeah.
And I think I'm up on, is this 29? I think this is 29.
God, it's
28
like
or 29, and I don't feel really old, but when I think about it, there are people that come up to me, like just like you just did. I mean, like, yeah, man, I've been doing this for about 5.5 years. I'm like, 5.5 years? That's literally nothing.
I'm done. I'm checked out.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It's really funny because when I joined Clutch with Bubba back in '77, I was just out
he passed away, right?
Bubba did.
Yeah. Hey, got hit by a fire truck.
Why do you do that?
I got to go get his CD.
He got hit by a fire truck right in front of Real Radio. No one did anything. They all stood there.
They didn't even talk about it.
There. They didn't even say a word. They just let him take the body away.
Come on.
I'm going hard
with this guy.
I know. I got to tell you.
I'm going hard in 25.
No, I know. And I got to tell you, Bubba's sister, his first wife, not Murtis, but the one before that. I don't know if you ever met Sean from Ville Platte, Louisiana.
I did not.
But you might have met his daughters. His daughters
They're
are
very
beautiful.
Nice. They're so sweet and so nice. Yeah. I loved his daughters. They're great people.
And the sister and the older daughter came to town, and they said, hey, well, let's get together. So we got together with Bubba's sister, and I went over to their house, and they brought out these 3 bags that said Bubba on them, and it's 3 bags of white powder. And I went, there's no way Bubba left that much cocaine before he died. Everything. But it was his ashes. And they were coming to get his ashes to spread.
What, 3 Kroger bags?
Yeah, it was like 3 different.
How they did it?
It was amazing. And one was actually kind of misshapen, and that was his club foot that they burned.
First day back.
I knew.
When Daniel's
writing jokes for a year now.
This guy, he took what I did and he made a masterpiece of it. Did you see that? I just launched I just put a little Chinese spy balloon into the air. This guy over here, he's got the anti-gravity technology. He made full-on drones out of what I did.
No, I apologize. Hey, anybody listening, because we all love Bubba.
Yeah, he would laugh at that.
But and we were that's all we talked about while they were there. We talked about just Bubba, just Bubba's stories and his wife's stories, and I know his ears would have been burning, but he was cremated, so they were already burnt to hell.
He's got them all.
Come on. 2025, baby.
You knew where you were going. Why did you get out of the car?
Well, Daniel said, Jeff wants to come in the Monday we get back. I'm like, they're starting it off.
Some kinks.
We're going to storm the broadcasting tower.
So, Casey, let's talk about work. You said you didn't work on New Year's Eve your first day or first time in a while, but now I know the last time we talked to Jeff, you're kind of taking over
let's get into
the
that
family business and
forcing him into retirement.
I like that. Absolutely. I mean, all of Orlando thanks you.
I'm doing a public service.
I mean, when you really think about it, because I've been watching your videos online, because, I mean, I don't go out. I don't have much, I got a family and all this kind of stuff, but I will go out and see you play because he's got a way better voice than you got.
10 times, a million times.
I mean, maybe more than 10. Like a million is good. Like, this guy can actually sing.
Really
you could sing, too. But
no.
He's got a beautiful voice.
Here's the deal. I've had a mediocre voice, but I've compensated by doing comedy or joking, being a goofy guy on stage. So that's kind of carried me with that. And people have asked me, they said, well, is he going to do, hit his head on the microphone and do the doggy tricks? I said, he doesn't have to. He can sing,
Right. Well, it's a much more pleasurable experience.
For me, especially.
I'm going to talk to Tom. Anyway,
I relate to that because...
Well, I've seen so many shows.
I know. Everybody has.
And I was actually talking about you to some buddies over the weekend. They used to go out to old cricketers and watch you play.
Yeah, the old school.
Super fun, man.
When you don't have the talent, you put on the suit. I am familiar with it. Me and Jeff, we understand.
Hitting my head on the microphone is pretty much the bear costume of my act.
And by the way, Casey, when you said you forced him into retirement, Jeff Howell has wanted to retire for 20 years.
He's been talking about it.
When I met Jeff Howell back in the radio days, like, I can't wait to retire.
One of my absolute favorite things that you would do, and this you just unlocked a memory, is when we would have the morning show would have a big concert or something, and you were tasked with either writing a song or doing something special for the concert, and you never did it. And I just want to thank you because you'd always go I'm not. You just you would just be like, I'm not, and then you'd be like, am I getting paid more? And the answer was always no, and you'd be like, well, I'm not doing more. And I respect the hell out of that, dude.
Thank you. I will tell you this, that Russell would come in before we do these and in the day, It was huge. You remember? I mean, like 6,000, 7,000
It was massive.
And
by the way, I'm like, I can't believe this many people are showing up for this every time. I look at
anything better to do.
I was like, why are they here?
I said the same thing, and so it'd be before the show, and Russ would come up and go, "Hey Jeff, I got to talk to you, man." I said, "What?" He goes, "Man, we're just running short on time, and we got this guest coming in, so tonight we're going to have to cut Burnout Cadillac. I'm so sorry." I said, "Cut them all. Give me my check.
Send me home.
Give me my check."
Exactly.
I'm wired like that too. Anytime that something gets canceled that I have to do, even if it's better for our business, I'm always a little bit pleased. I'm like, like even if it's a paid gig, like you know what I'm saying, like your paid gig is like it's going to cost you $600, but you're just like, yes.
But what is that? Because like we've had interviews like set up with some of the biggest people in the world. They'll be like, "Hey, Tom and Dan, like we have, like I don't know, the ghost of Jerry Springer's calling in, you know, like and then, he canceled," and I'll be like, "Yes." But the show, but the content would have been better and make your show more successful. I was like, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk to anybody.
I know.
I have nothing left to say.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Well, you guys especially because y'all do this. What do y'all do this 6 hours a day?
We've never stopped.
No. We're cut down to, but it's Monday through Friday.
You're into that.
No, we got to record. You're right. Yeah.
I'll be on the golf course in about an hour.
But it just wears you out, because you have to be on. And if you have a guest in, then you got to be super on because you got to be aware of them and aware of what they're saying, and then kind of like right now, which I'm not really saying.
I haven't switched it on.
A lot of noise.
I'm looking at Tom, and all I'm seeing is we're closed for the afternoon.
I'm sorry. Moose should have told you.
1,000-yard stare.
It takes me a while to get the engine running again. We've been off for a while.
Yeah, we have, like he and I this morning, like honestly.
We haven't talked in 2 weeks.
Two special needs people playing volleyball. Like we don't know what's happening.
I saw Daniel one time for New Year's Eve at my house. We talked for a little bit. That was it. We had like 5 texts.
A couple of texts.
So Casey, back to this year, 2025. So
are you, Jeff? Are you out?
Yeah, I'm pretty much out. I've got one gig that I do the first Sunday of every month. Out in Osteen called Feel Good Farms. It's a great place. He grows his own grapes. But anyway, other than that, I'm just doing private parties and a couple of, special things like Tibby's Mardi Gras.
Okay,
I'll do Mardi Gras Day for them and everything. But pretty much cases.
Just places that need to keep the crowd down.
If they need a write-off,
We need to chase the riffraff out.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to get them back out to the slots. Can't be too good.
We need them out here. I grow my own grapes. We need to get about that picking.
It's funny when Bubba and I played in that band, The Clutch.
So good.
And we were working our way up, and we went out to Reno, and we thought, "Oh God, this is the start of it."
You made it.
We'll be on the same stage as Dom DeLuise once played.
Yeah,
so
I love Dom DeLuise.
I do too, man.
Yeah,
and that was back in the day. The showrooms would have just some TV personality.
I wrote down something for Jeff today, and how did I know that he was going to weasel his way into something I wrote down?
Dom DeLuise?
Well, yes, the 1967 Dean Martin Christmas special starring Dom DeLuise.
Wow, look at that.
I watched it over the break.
I do remember that.
And it holds up because he's drunk the entire time.
Yeah, he is. And I will tell you this.
And he talks about being drunk the entire time, and all the jokes are like, hey, I was backstage. It's hard to move around with all these empty bottles everywhere. Like, everything's a joke about him being lit.
Yeah. Because back then, booze was the, marijuana. So when you're joking about people being high now, back then it was booze, and it was all okay. And I will tell you this, Dean Martin, people say that he didn't drink, and they swear that he didn't drink, but if he didn't, he's the greatest actor of all time.
I would agree.
Because you look at him, and he's slurring his words right. His eyes are glazed over.
Yeah.
I think he was really drunk.
It looks fun.
Yeah, he looks like a lot of fun.
He looks like he's having the time of his life. There's always like sexy women around him.
Yeah.
The musicians are top tier.
Yeah.
The comedy, like Dom DeLuise, Bob Newhart.
Oh yeah.
These are comedians that you didn't know kind of got.
Like, Red Fox would come in. Yeah, he would just.
But Dom DeLuise and Bob Newhart, especially on this 1967 Dean Martin Martin special are, and the bits still hold up. Bob Newhart does a bit in this special about he's coming back to a department store, and Dean Martin, and it's weird. Dean Martin comes out and he's like, "My friend, Bob Newhart's going to come out here. We're going to improv a little sketch called about a man who wants to return a toupee."
Yeah.
Thank you, Lynn. And then he walks back, and everybody claps.
Yeah.
And then they start the scene.
And they do it live.
And it's really good. Yeah. Like, it holds up in the bit. They're doing like almost like a Who's On First about a man that wants to return a toupee.
Yeah.
But it's very, very funny. Like,
and you younger kids listening, and Tom and Casey, go back and Google the Dean Martin show and these skits, because not only would the skits really good, but then they'd have a comedian come on like Charlie Callis, and he would come on, and he wasn't really funny, but he made goofy noises after every joke. So it'd be like, Rhinoceros went in the bar and said, "Hey, can you get my wife on the horn?"
That's what I do.
Me and Casey will never Google that.
That's not getting in my TikTok algorithm, man.
There is infinite things to Google, and that's not going to be one of them.
I know they took pornography from us, but I'm not that bored.
How are you guys coping? How are you both?
I'm not.
Are you okay? You gonna be all right?
Look at me, man.
Yeah, I know. You're struggling this morning. I can tell. I can help you out.
I'm so cold.
I can show you.
There's still some auxiliary sites that are not shut down.
Right.
But it's a rough porn. It's rough. It's a rough watch. All the women are dirty. They're all dirty. They're like, their bodies are dirty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you just know.
I can't watch women with dirty bodies.
You're like, I can't.
I only can, so.
I cannot go too deep in this site. I'm going to, there's some bad stuff in
Yeah, like all the men are standing in like burned out buildings wearing like, what are those things called? Kalabakalas? The terrorist
balaclavas.
Yeah, the balaclavas. They're wearing like a balaclava. It's like a Latin guy, completely nude, big beer belly, tiny pecker, balaclava on, standing in a burned out building. I can't watch this. I can't watch it.
Send me that link.
I got you.
I appreciate it.
So, what's happening?
You got a Rumbler? You guys got Rumbler accounts?
Rumbler.
I'll get you on there. I'll get you on there. Never mind. Don't worry about it.
Well, it's like everybody's talking about, like, oh, the VPN sites are blowing up. And I'm like, for people, well, Jeff,
they're free.
Jeff is more technologically advanced than I am. But
at least I can pronounce the word.
That's a hard one, man. It's like 8 syllables.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's Jerry Jewell. Do you remember Jerry Jewell?
And I'm like,
Google her. She's a...
Oh, yeah?
I don't know how to get on one of these VPN sites.
I can show you. All my friends have been hitting me up. My friend Rebecca hit me up this morning. You hit me up. I can help you guys.
So what does the VPN do for you?
It basically what it does is it tricks the internet site that you're going to into thinking that
you're from a different state.
So you could just change it to like Georgia because
perfect.
they still have Pornhub, and then you can go to like YouPorn, Pornhub, any of the sites you would normally go to because it's tricking them into thinking you're in Georgia.
Good.
Yeah, it's easy.
And you can also
a pervert from Georgia.
It's all I've ever been. This is a simple pervert. I'm just a simple peanut pervert from Georgia. They call me Billy Wackencarter.
Good job, Florida. Georgia is more
They're better. Advanced.
They're better.
They're sexually free over there.
They're more liberal, I guess, than we are.
When I think of sexual freedom, I think Atlanta.
Ridiculous. Anyway, so 2025, Casey, what are you looking forward to now that Jeff's out of the picture?
Where do I begin?
Jeff was mad at me, and that was a hell of a way to say it, I guess.
Should I go to another room?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's just get a bunch of clubs and beat on them for a minute.
Yeah, like, are you now totally, basically, Jeff is not even, with you?
Doesn't even exist in my head anymore.
Does he have any say, though? Like,
is he manager and he say? Like,
he's behind the scenes. He's Karl Rove. He's pulling the strings,
Yeah,
man.
I wonder if, like, behind the scenes, he's kind of like, you did 3 Stone Temple Pilot songs. How about we make it 2 next time, and we put in a little something different there?
Yeah, what about Brown Eyed Girl?
If they like that,
how about we go with some classics? I heard people like that.
He played out at Cherry Pocket. I don't know if y'all been there. It's Lake Wales, and it's one of those dockside bar restaurants. Beautiful.
Cherry Pocket.
Yeah, Cherry Pocket.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey,
we blew it up, if you know what I mean.
Most of the women I've been with, their pocket pockets have been,
and
the sanctity of their pockets has been spoiled.
And so he played there Friday night, and I just went out there. Most of his first gigs, I just want to show up on, just kind of, hang out and just kind of see what, everything's
Helicopter.
cool. And then after that, he's been doing everything on his own. So this was his first gig there, and so I was kind of going around talking to different people. And
how's the boy doing?
How's he sound? I know he's a singer and he doesn't hit his head on the microphone. But
I know you want the classics, but it's not bad.
But I was sitting there talking to some ladies, just saying, hey, I hope you're having a good time. This is my son playing up here. And all of a sudden, they just didn't even look at me. They got up and they all went in front of the stage. Guess what he was playing? Brown-Eyed Girl. The gift that just keeps on giving.
Well, it is an amazing song. It's a powerful.
You could play like a death metal concert in Sturgis, the big biker thing. You could be up there with a death metal concert, breaking the Brown-Eyed Girl. Every lady in the place would come in front of the stage and dance.
Yeah.
And then when you're finished, their boyfriends would beat the crap out.
What are the other songs?
When will that be done?
What, Brown-Eyed Girl?
I mean, it's got to age out eventually,
the
right?
cycle of Brown-Eyed Girl.
It seems like it, but I see no decline in people liking that song.
Well, are there other songs? Give me another one you'd put in the same category.
I don't think there is one. I can't. Maybe the one that they kind of start dancing to is "Blister in the Sun." That kind of gets it.
Okay, well, that's what they said about Crocodile Rock at one point. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually it dies.
Banger.
Like Casey's son, when he plays Brown-Eyed Girl, they'd be like, not interested.
People my age don't seem to appreciate it.
I hate Crocodile Rock. I always hated
really?
that song.
Yeah.
Leave it as a little boy when that came on. I think I was like, this is gay. I was like, I don't like this song. I'm pretty sure I didn't like it.
Good premonition.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. What do you think of Elton John losing his eyesight?
No, did he lose his eyesight?
Yeah.
But now he can hear so much better.
I think he's done. Yeah, it takes a while for that to happen.
Are you kidding me?
I don't think he has enough time. You fit in here, buddy. Let me just say, you fit in here.
I just saw your dad in here for a second.
And I wanted to hug you.
Making a disrespectful joke.
Don't touch me.
Your dad and I used to destroy that morning show purposely just to see if we could do it.
Yeah.
Just to see if we could break the
anyone
rules.
would stop us.
And it would make Tom uncomfortable.
It was funny because when you remember the show, and we were doing the morning show, and then two people were fighting on the show, whether it was Russ and Savannah, it was Bubba and Dirty Jim.
Jimmy used to fight a lot. That man's got a lot of anger in him.
Yeah, and
Kylie Pecker.
And that horrible, horrible feeling when it's just the show is just taking a turn and it's just violent in their the way they're talking to each other, and everybody gets uncomfortable. I look over at Daniel and I see a little gleam in his eye. I go, "Ding." Like this. There we go. Oh, yeah. Payday.
Yeah,
that's how great radio is made.
It's very much like, let's make a joke here. Let's do it.
It can make the more inappropriate joke.
Yeah.
Since we have a father and son in here today, I need to ask you guys a question because I want to get Casey's perspective on this because I just got back from Fort Wilderness. Disney's Fort Wilderness.
Yeah. He says that as if he climbed Everest. He'll never get
Congratulations.
Which
send a telegram. I just got back from Everest.
Which has to be the nicest campground in Florida, as far as the amenities and it's got
the least amount or most amount of pedophiles. I'm gonna roll that back.
Yeah, it's quiet. They've managed to keep it quiet. It's the only campground in Florida that's not blasting some sort of music because they don't allow it.
They don't tolerate that. You'll get a golf cart visit, homie.
Yeah.
But still, and we also we're doing tent camping, which is the worst of all
camping. Yeah, it's not good camping.
But you didn't want to do it. I think you need to tell people that. Like, you wanted an RV, but they were all booked, right?
Well, that and the wizard and his giant family can't afford the RV because their house sold out.
You know what? When people can't afford things, you don't get to go camping.
And then that's
the way it works. That's
all my friends.
The breaks.
Yeah, you can't afford your BDM membership. It gets turned off. If your power can get turned off,
they're like, let's go tent camping. It'll be fun with all our friends and the kids will all play together.
People say.
Yeah. So we load up the back of the truck with just
Boys,
piles.
we're going to pretend we're poor people for the weekend.
It's the packing that's the GD worst. Just so much stuff in bins and just a bunch of... And then I'm packing stuff that I know, like, I'm putting the bicycles on. Like, kids ride this 2 times, you know, I'm like, all this stuff. And anyway, so my point being is, do you, like, and it is miserable. Like, sleeping on an air mattress, and it was 45 degrees.
It's very cold.
At night, freezing. We have one heater in there. And, like, I'm S-face drunk. I eating horrible food. I'm like the bubble guts the entire night. I have
just straight beer diarrhea.
I'm about to turn 43. Have to pee every hour at night. So as soon as I get back,
get worse.
Did
you know at some point you just pee all the time?
No.
Right now, literally, like right now, I'm like an atomic clock. It's one drip, and I never stop. I'm like an atomic clock. Never stops.
I get back from outside the cold ass tent. I take my clothes.
Heater there.
Get back into the sleeping bag, and then I'm like, gotta pee again. And then I'm like, and then it's like that the whole night. You don't
can
sleep.
Fight that. You can fight that second one.
Yeah.
So
it's a phantom pee.
And I keep telling myself I'm doing this for my sons, and that's what Crystal tells me. Like, we're doing it for their memories.
We don't appreciate it.
I knew it.
Is that really what you were going to ask? Man, he jumped on that fast. How fast did Casey jump on that?
Yeah, you don't remember it. You don't look back, and you're like my dad.
We're little assholes.
I knew we were little assholes
from the source. That's from the source.
I'm sorry, man. I love you. I appreciate it.
No, that's okay.
Well, that wasn't the question. We know you love it. Yeah. That's not the question. Love has not even been uttered. So I see the love. But camping is trash.
So, Casey, do you remember those? Okay, I remember these trips your dad used to take back 20 years ago.
You guys went camping?
No, I remember your dad would take you over to your family, skiing, and stuff. Like, skiing's a S-ton of work.
Yeah, a lot of work.
That's fun.
And okay, so you enjoyed
that was
skiing.
a good time. We always like ended in a horrible way, like falling off the lift,
Well, that's
doing half a backflip and breaking all your ribs or something. But,
okay, so you remember fun times that your dad obviously did a bunch of work to do.
Yeah.
But there would have been no camping trips in there?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Not a camper, Jeff?
No, not at all. My dad's version of camping was the balcony of a Holiday Inn right next to some woods.
With the
SPN.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Some people aren't camping people. I didn't grow up camping.
I didn't either.
It seemed like you would.
RV?
I know.
Does RV count? Because, I mean, we would do...
No, I guess it does. It does kind of count.
I mean, I would do RV parks. I did a lot of but my dad was obsessed with beach parks. So when we would camp, it wasn't like we were camping in the woods. We do Fort Wilderness.
Yeah.
We do some, like, national parks.
Yeah.
Mostly, like, he liked being on the ocean. So we'd pull the camper to ocean spots and park it right on the seawall, you know?
Yeah. My parents never took me camping when I was a young kid. It was like we started the Peace River trip when I was a teenager. But
boating is adjacent, I feel like. You were out on a boat a lot, though, right?
Yeah, boats and stuff. But we never camped out in tents, sleeping on air mattresses.
So that was something
like that.
You started as a young man that carried over.
Yes, yeah.
Interesting that you created your own
misery. I love creating my own prison.
I was trying to think about it. So where does this camping come from, Tom? It's like, it came from me. I'm inside the house.
Yeah. I'm calling myself. I'm like, come upstairs.
It's making me do this.
Yeah, but I do look.
Who suggested this?
Yeah. I do look at my sons, and I'm like, they're having fun playing with the. But I'm like, could we be at a hotel and just be doing the fun daytime stuff at a park or something?
Yeah,
absolutely. That is an option. Write that down. Right?
Do we need to end sleeping on air mattress and the freezing cold?
Yeah.
The sleeping bag stink like smoke.
Here's what I would say, and I'd pose this question to both Jeff and Casey. You bring up the camping and how much you hate it. A lot. I mean, like, this is going on. Let me look at my watch here.
Yeah.
7 years. I feel like. So what would you guys do? Would you continue to do it in hopes that your sons would love it? Or would you maybe ask them, communicate, and maybe switch it to something like a ski trip with a nice hotel? Or, I don't know, something else. Yeah. Something other than the camp.
No, we do all the other stuff. We just do camping, too.
Cut it out. Just eliminate it. Yeah, that's very easy. Just slash the budget.
Although the only joy I will get is when I'm hopefully, if I get to this point, I'm an old man when my kids have kids, and they somehow indoctrinate camping is that what they need to do for their kids. Because that's what they do.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then when I see them come back from a long camping trip at Fort Wilderness Sleep, they're miserable.
And they're complaining.
And they're complaining to me, and then I can just be like, yes. I got you.
Well, they're gonna
Bathrobe with a cup of coffee, just warm.
They're gonna drive the kids over
I
to your
indoctrinated
house.
them into
They're gonna drop their kids off with you.
I built them the prison.
Yeah, and they'll start complaining to you about how bad the camping trip was when your grandpa.
And then they'll be like, why did you do this? I didn't know it was so much work. And then I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I did this just to build you a prison one day because that's what happened to me.
It's sort of just a prank.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a long...
you're just showing children that it can get worse. It can get worse. Yeah. Well, we got it home. We're good. We're fine.
Yeah. But also shows them that if what we had at home ever fell apart, there's no way we could survive like this.
Yeah.
It weakens their imaginations of if something bad happened. Mom and dad are very weak.
Societal structure is very necessary.
So you ever see those dystopian movies? You know, you watch them.
That's all I watch.
Yeah.
That and porn.
You can. We'll watch more dystopian.
I got to cleanse my palate.
Yeah, and you watch the dystopian, and all I can think of watching the dystopian movie is if this happened, I would kill myself because I have to have indoor plumbing.
Yeah.
You know, I need a heavy supply of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big beehole.
Yeah.
Big.
And a very active system.
Yeah,
you know?
me too.
Yeah.
How many of you had already?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had one this morning.
I'm 3 in.
Yeah. And
I do one when I wake up.
Overactive.
One before I leave. One when I get here.
Yeah. And when I get home, I feel a frozen yogurt coming on.
TCBY.
Yeah. But anyway, the thing is, I couldn't live. You know, I'd have to have air conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if all the electricity cuts off right now. What would you do?
I'd certainly flee my family. Why would? Because they're going to be better off without me.
Excuse.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be better off without them.
Because
Just eat me.
I hate heat. I always feel like I'm 10 degrees hotter than everybody. Not looks-wise, but, you know.
So you must like our studio because it's typically cold in here,
I like
right?
this.
Yeah,
I like this.
We keep it cold.
He's just the opposite.
I'm dying.
So when the dystopian thing comes on, I'm going north and he's going south. You know, we're not traveling together.
We'll high five along the way.
Yeah, I like that. We'll keep in contact.
Ships in the night.
Yeah. I think I'd be the worst one, like, because I'm going to complain. Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That's my resolution. You guys got any resolutions?
Back in my you want to complain more?
Yeah, no,
that's a good one.
That's hot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mine is
It
complain
could
less.
be all of us. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Do you guys have resolutions this year? You got anything?
Make it through.
Yeah. I think that's most people's, honestly.
Yeah.
You got one?
Yeah, I like to do things that, like you can actually accomplish. So I'm going to try to brush my teeth before I leave the house.
I don't brush my teeth in the morning.
You don't?
No.
I do, but I do it like I'll eat breakfast first because it seems like if you brush your teeth and then go eat breakfast and you're dirtying it up again, you got to brush them.
I haven't brushed my teeth in years.
Really?
I'm joking.
They look good.
They should fix that. Where we don't have to brush and floss as much.
No, I floss all the time. But you brought up something.
Put a treatment on there.
Interesting. Have you seen these toothbrushes that it's like it's a mouth guard with like a little battery on the end of it?
Vibrates.
And it's supposed to be like, they say.
The perfect brush.
And it's supposed to clean 5.14% better than any other toothbrush. That's the number they give.
5%?
5.14%. And you just take the little, it's like a little tray with little
fingers, little fingers.
Cilia or fingers. And you
fingers?
Like little, and you stick it in your mouth, and I guess you rest your teeth in the little fingers or cilia, and then it just vibrates, and you just let it do it. And then the whole tagline is, this toothbrush is super expensive, but hey, 5.14% better. And I'm like, God damn, 5.1%. Because, like, I really do a good job brushing and flossing my teeth. I do a great job.
Good teeth,
But I think that if I could do better and it's easier, why wouldn't I want that 5.14?
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's $190 for like this little puck toothbrush, but I don't know if they're even real. Like it doesn't appear. There are a lot of products that I don't think are real.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the deal.
Yeah, you
should
say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You should contact the company and say, look, I don't mind paying more, but I'm only going to pay you 5 0.14% more than I pay for a normal toothbrush.
Yeah.
If that's what it's
I think these were invented for like children too, because you know, with kids, it's hard. Like with little babies, well, not babies, but like kiddos, like even like our kids,
18-year-olds.
Yeah, it's hard to get them to brush their teeth. So I think this one was invented because it's like a tray. They can just kind of rest on it, and then it's supposed to like I think like cycle music through, and at the end of the music, your teeth should be cleaned. Or something like that.
Okay.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
I would use it.
So, what's the first gig of the year, Casey? Coming up.
I got the whiskey tomorrow.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where's the whiskey at?
Excited about that. That's in Dr. Phillips.
All right.
Sand Lake Road. Yeah, it's really
nice.
right off I-4.
Very
Great
cool.
place.
Yeah.
Great burgers. You also have House of Blues every
House of
Thursday.
Blues every Thursday.
5 to 10.
Come out and see us. That's fun.
I was just at Disney Springs because we felt it necessary for whatever reason to leave Fort Wilderness and go out on an adventure daily to the most packed place we possibly could think of.
Fort Society.
Yeah. And then walk around and then
It's hard to walk, so you kind of stumble around.
buy $15 beers and then end up packed as hell. And
was it for Christmas cheer? Is that why you did it, or?
No, it was just like, let's take the water taxi over to the monorail and go over to Disney Springs and walk around. And pack. I'm like nut to butt with just a sea of people. And I'm like, goddamn, this place is packed. And then I'm like, and then someone is like, that's familiar with the parks that goes all the time. They're like, oh yeah, it's always like this. And I'm like, why did we come here? And like, there are like, how many people coming through there a day? 100,000?
Maybe more.
It's
You just live in the city. Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, there are people that we know that I'm sure you know too that are in management at Disney. There are days during the holidays in season where they actually have to shut the gates off at like 10:30 in the morning because they're already over capacity. Can you imagine before 10:30 in the morning?
Yeah, it's like even before lunchtime, you're having to shut the park down.
Yeah,
and,
or shut the gates.
Yeah.
The park is full.
Yeah, I mean it's running, but you shut the gates, and then I guess, and then it's very hard. They have to wait a couple hours, and they'll let a few more back in.
And imagine if you spent thousands of dollars to bring your family over here.
Oh yeah.
And then you go and you have tickets and you can't get in.
The worst feeling.
Are they a sponsor? Because I might be missing.
No,
that.
they'll never sponsor us. The worst feeling. They don't need to have sponsorship. 100,000 people show up.
All of those people.
Disney.
Those people are sponsoring them currently. And they're doing just fine.
Good point.
I find myself feeling this a lot, which is weird. But I often, and it's the worst feeling, is standing at a place, looking around and questioning why anybody would be here.
You do that a lot, right? Yeah.
And then, you know how mad that makes me? Because I'm mad that so many people are here. I'm there. Why did I get there? Anyway, so how many times a week do you? Once a week?
I tried to gig 3-4 times a week.
Oh, 3 or 4 times?
Yeah.
It's a good schedule. I need that schedule 3 or
schedule.
4 times. I should have learned to play guitar.
How good are your bass? You might be able to,
Well, my dad died before he taught me anything. So I just go out and figure it out myself and ended up building myself a prison.
You come from a long line of prison builders, son.
It's like, what job do I want? Every day. Monday through Friday.
You guys going back to Louisiana anytime soon? Or
You know what? My mom passed a year and a half ago.
I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But she lived
it still stings, you know.
Yeah, but she lived a long, good life, and she got to die with all the family was there.
She was wonderful.
Yeah, it worked out. And so, but she moved to Arkansas the last 5 years because she said, when I go into assisted living, I want to be where my kids are.
Oh, nice.
And my brother and sister live up there. So they were seeing her every day. And so she got that, and the whole family was there when she passed. But I really don't have anybody.
There's not a need. Yeah.
I mean, I gotta have 2 friends because I got ostracized because I didn't smoke pot when I was in school.
Yeah.
And all my football buddies did.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? I'm smoking pot right now and peeing. Still peeing. I'm still peeing.
But that was like heroin back in the 70s.
Yeah. They thought it was. They thought. They
Sent
thought
you to the gulag for that.
Now everybody, even my daughter, she's 9. She smokes marijuana.
Yeah,
I don't let her do
CBD.
mushrooms. I don't let her do mushrooms. She's not ready for that.
Yeah, but anyway, I only had like 2 friends, and one of them's in jail anyway. So.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So, but do you ever feel the need to bring Casey back and show him your old stomping grounds?
Already did.
Yeah. How was that? Tell us about that.
I brought him, the two closest friends. The one got out of jail, and they came over, and we were sitting there talking with the wives and my two friends and their kids, and just tell them which word came up more than any other word.
I hope it's the N-word. Was it? Did I guess it?
It was the N-word, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't remember that.
I just wanted to make a joke.
I'm just joking around.
You look at your son like, tell
The color in my face.
Tell everybody your favorite word.
Yeah. Oh.
Tell everybody on the radio how many times our family says the N-word.
Not my family.
Say that word we practiced on the drive over here.
Jeff just said, "Hey Casey, tell him my best friend who is in jail loves the N-word." We already have best of. It's the first show of the year. I'm crapping my pants. I'm laughing.
This is the one thing I had anxiety about.
Why would you do that to your son?
I'm sorry, but
my God.
they did say it a lot, yeah. But it wasn't my family.
Yeah,
it was
I remember.
How do you forget something like that?
It's traumatizing.
I, too, have had interactions with older people in the South that wing around words, and you're like, what do I do in this situation?
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I may have been in my great-grandfather Pabob's assisted living / nursing home, and maybe there were people shouting things, and I'm like, what do you do about that?
Yeah.
And the answer is, you just pretend it's not happening until they die. That's the answer. I think that's the answer, because they're dying.
Or get sent to jail.
Correct. Or go to jail.
It was funny because we were, when you take a trip, because we did that 6-week trip where we drove all around the country. Well, after a while you get used to silence. So when you're first driving, you're making conversation, but after a while you run out of conversation. So we got on the road. We got on the road. I said, "You want to get breakfast now?" He said, "No, why don't we go a little bit?" I said, "Okay." So we're on the road and we're in silence. And I was silence. And I said, "So what'd you think?" He goes, "It's the best clan meeting I've ever been to."
That's a funny joke. Yeah.
I drove with my son down to Miami in silence.
I was going to ask you about that.
We're both not big talker, me and Tommy, but even Max too. Like when you take him to school in the mornings, we're basically in silence. But there is something. But you hate silence, Jeff. Like notorious for talking in the bathroom when I'm using urinal.
So if you and Tommy are driving, he's passenger seat. You're driving, obviously. You're going down the road. It can be silent with nothing on the radio, and you don't feel anything like,
no.
"Hey, I'm glad you're with me," but you don't feel the need to break the silence at all.
We're both off in our heads, just daydreaming.
I am very envious of that.
Yeah, me too.
I bet you and I are very
cars on the road. If I'm driving, honestly.
You could say this, I bet you, Jeff and I with the silence, I do it here. We're similar, right, Jeff and I?
Yeah, with the chirpers, where it's like silence makes you uncomfortable, so you're like, you need to break.
You need to fill the gap.
Yeah, fill the gap.
With just crap.
Yeah.
Fill the gap with crap. Oh my God, write that down. That's fantastic.
2025, I'm on it, baby.
Fill the gap with crap. Wow. 2025.
When I see gaps, I'm never like, you know what there needs to be in here? Doo-doo. I'm like, it'll just be a gap.
Need some crap.
Just a bunch of loud BS.
It's better with nothing rather than putting doo-doo.
You're actually right.
So let's plug the next couple gigs.
Okay.
So what do we got?
Let's give him the
here,
full
Jeff?
rundown here, man.
All right. Hold on 2 seconds if you want.
It's like having a manager.
Hey, get my intern on this.
Casey,
Colonel Tom Parker over here.
And for anybody that wants to book you, what's the easiest way to do that?
You can email me at casey@caseyhowell.com. You can go to my website.
Boom.
Contact us page.
Yeah.
Email me.
CaseyHowell.com. Just go to that page. It has a calendar up front. It has contact him and everything. And did you see his video, his promotional video?
I did. It's very good.
He can really sing.
He can.
Yeah.
You're really good, man. It's it's the kind of music you go out to HOB, you get yourself a couple of beers, you sit out there and just relax.
Yeah.
Just chill, enjoy the weather.
Did you just learn how to sing yourself, or did your dad teach you?
I knew you were trying to sabotage me for years and years. I think it was a little jelly for a long time. He's like, "You want some more gravel in your voice?"
You want to?
No.
Here's a pack of cigarettes.
You're gonna need to fill it up with crap.
See your voice there, boy. You got a crap. Your voice. That's a great yeah. What you want to do is you want to coat it with a lot of gravel and crap.
So in the middle of Brown Eyed Girl, I left a section for you to beatbox.
But did you just naturally start singing yourself, and then?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I never thought I was a singer until I had no other career options. And then, I just kept doing it, and it got better. So
yeah, when we started 3 years ago, he wouldn't take a lead. He knew the chords, but he wouldn't take a lead. He wouldn't sing, and he wouldn't smile. In fact, he wouldn't even
I still won't smile.
Yeah, I like that.
I just told him, I said, look.
I like my singer serious.
Goddamn happy all the time. Yeah.
Smiling. There's nothing to smile about.
I'm playing the blues here.
Yeah, I want you up there thinking about how many times you want to scream the N-word. Just think about it.
It's zero.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah,
that's a good answer. That was a test. I was testing.
But anyway, he when he was a baby, he was probably about 8-9 months old, and I had the TV on. Of course, I had on my nerd NPR, and there was a opera on, and this lady was singing. He was just playing with his toy, and the lady goes, ooh, ooh. She hits a super high note. And all of a sudden, he looked up and he matched that note at 8-9 months. Yeah, but I mean, he hit it perfectly, the exact note. And I went, okay, he's going to be able to sing.
And that lady, Aretha Franklin.
I like that.
That's going to be genetic, right?
Yeah. Well, let me just put it this way. My limitation singing, and his mom can't sing, so we might have to have a talk with him.
So that's crazy. Was your voice always deep and sort of low and gravelly?
Yeah. Nobody in my nobody. If you heard the rest of my family sing, you would think I was Pavarotti. I mean,
yeah.
Because I had so much to overcome.
Yeah.
And if I play you stuff when I was a kid, he's heard it. It is so god awful horrible. I mean, I can't even.
But then, how did you get to?
But you understood pitch and stuff.
But I didn't at first. I thought if you just made your nose kind of nasally like Jim Croce, that was singing in tune. But I didn't know anything about pitch.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really, and to be with Bubba, who knew everything about pitch.
Right. Oh yeah.
But he was kind enough to work with me. But
then it just kind of clicked.
Well, it took me about 20 years to where I got to where people go, you probably shouldn't sing.
I mean, but we make a lot of jokes.
Yeah. It's an okay voice.
We can only get to so much of a point where then I start rejecting the jokes a little bit. You see them?
Sure.
Because they're like The Tree.
Oh yeah,
is a really great Jeff Howell album that I would urge anybody to go out and listen to if you like singer-songwriter stuff. Yep. The Tree is it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're a good you're a great songwriter.
Thank you. I will take that. Oh, I'm still trying to shop that country music version of Burnout Cadillac.
It works good, right?
It sounds great, man.
I mean, it works pretty good. Now, what are your thoughts on AI? Do you have any? Do you care about it? Hate it? Don't care about it?
AI?
Yeah.
I'm pretty against, I guess, in the general scheme of things.
As a working musician, why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, absolutely. And, creating and stuff, it seems like the process should be a little challenging, I think, to probably get the most rewarding work out of it.
I think that's well said. Yeah, I agree with that.
Just let the
say the N-word.
The AI will say it.
Yeah, they will.
They don't care.
I told him. Yeah. All you have to do to get it to say it is just what are you, scared?
Yeah. Well, you're not going to say it in front of thousands of people on the radio?
Don't do that.
I won't.
Jeff, Casey Howell, thanks so much.
Thanks for
having us. Always a blast.
Happy New Year, guys. Good luck on your adventures.
Yeah,
CaseyHowell.com. Go there and book him up. And
please do.
We will see you tomorrow.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So, me and Daniel have been talking business over the past couple weeks.
We're obsessed with business. A lot of people know that.
It's 2025, and we both discussed that once Hawk Tua got a podcast, that...
well, really, it started with Shaq, I feel like. No offense. No offense, but it worked its way to...
Shaq, then was it Dudes on Dudes?
Yeah,
and then Hawk Tua, and then...
Can I throw one more in personally, just for me? It's when Big Justice and AJ, the Costco guys,
No, they started doing a podcast.
The official Costco podcast. Yeah, paid by Costco.
Oh, yeah. And then we started looking up statistics.
Yes.
And there are 4.36 million podcasts.
4.36 million.
At the end of 2025.
Yes.
And then we're like, well, hold on. Well, how many talk radio shows are there? And then we've determined those are harder stats to find.
Yes, far fewer.
There are like 6,000 talk radio shows across the country. And so for every 666 podcast, there's one talk radio show.
Oh, it was really 666. That's interesting the way it worked out like that.
That was 4 million divided by like 5,000.
Yeah, I got you. You don't have to do it.
Anyway, and then so actually having a terrestrial radio talk show is way more rare than having a podcast.
Oh, absolutely. It's like a rare Pokemon card right here.
So we're back full on radio now.
Absolutely. So let's do it. You want to do radio? Did I hear radio? Do you want to do radio? Do you want to do it correctly? Because what is one of the things that radio does correctly? What they do is they go to a hard, on-the-road comedian somewhere out in America, and then they force him to do a bit immediately on there. Ladies and gentlemen, live from what appears to be San Francisco and an empty theater, we had him on. He offered us free zany reports, and man, when you get that offer, you don't turn it down. Ladies and gentlemen, national touring comedian, Mr. Bob Zaney.
Thank you, you guys. And I know how important comedy is to you, but I realize that since you are a business show, I got to renew my DBA. Can you help me out with that?
Yeah.
We can do it. We're on it.
We're actually rebranding the whole corporate time thing, Bob, because we realize that everybody gets confused that we are talking some sort of corporate business,
but we're not.
Business.
We're just talking about our lives. But
it couldn't be further from business as it gets.
No, it is. And Tom, your statistics really. I was thinking about taking an Ambien tonight, but I'm just going to go over them in my head tonight.
Thanks, Bob.
The listeners are the extension of Bob.
I want you guys to know that I'm a radio insultant. What I do is I come in and make fun of the show, and then you make it better. So, again, that's what I add to it. I'm not in San Francisco. I'm in my hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, actually Henderson, where I have a good view of the Strip from my front door. I can actually see the Sphere, and it's a big, giant ball.
There you go, live from the Sphere.
Bob,
Sphere.
How is the escort thing as popular in Vegas? I know it's got to be. Well, is it still popular? Do the Uber drivers and the taxi cab drivers? I don't even know if they're taxis anymore. But
yeah, what is Vegas like now? We haven't been there in a minute.
Give out the little escort.
Listen, I'm not gonna answer the escort question, Tom. I'm glad you brought it up. But my wife's working right now, but she knows all the answers.
Yes, that is. Yeah.
That's why you got the goods, Bob.
I'm going to get you.
By the way, there are cabs here. The cabs are dominant still, but you have to walk really far at the airport to find the Uber and the Lyft. And you know what I'm tired of is these Uber and Lyft drivers that do both services. Pick a side.
Yeah, you're right.
Stop riding the fence. You don't get both. You're either yellow or a dilapidated car.
That's right. And that's when I always request. That way, I think Rent-A-Wreck should actually have an Uber service, and that would be the big icing on the cake, as they say. By the way, guys, I do a thing called the Zaney Report. There's going to be a monthly feature.
Yes.
And the reason I'm here on your show is because of Porky's Comedy Club. I'm already rebooked there in November, so we'll talk more about that. But they have great comedy there every week at Porky's. Just ask Eric. He kept telling me that, and I wouldn't listen.
Yeah. No, Porky's is great, and
they've always been good to us, man. And they bring us bacon.
They really are. And with your weight gain, Porky's is really starting to take off for you.
Really, I'm becoming Porky's, actually.
You really are. Hey, I got some news for you. You guys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Woo!
Well, President Biden awarded the Presidential Citizens Medal to former Representative Liz Cheney. This is her second honor in a week. The first was winning the Sesame Street, Miss Piggy lookalike contest.
I like that. I'll support
Miss Piggy, yes!
There wasn't even a close second. She got that all on her own. Kind of a sad note. I hate to bring things down, but Helena Senhouse, who was the second oldest person in the United States, has passed away at the age of 113.
God.
That's horrible.
Yeah, she said the secret to longevity, never having kids. Now, she passed away peacefully, surrounded by no one.
You know what? I thought about this the other day, Bob. When people are like,
That's gonna be me.
they died surrounded by their friends and family, and I'm like, I don't want to die that way. I don't want them seeing that.
Don't look
right?
at me.
Yeah. Like like a die like an animal in the wild. You just go off into the woods alone and you die alone.
Yeah. That's what dogs do.
People like
You know what?
Sorry.
You know, Tom, you're much like Ted Kaczynski, and I can't wait to read your manifesto.
Definitely. This guy's nuts. I mean, he's super crazy. Overthinks everything.
I don't. Do you want your family to watch you die? It's weird.
Right into my eyes.
By the way, you guys, this is a business show. It's all about the corporate, so I have a business story.
Okay.
Party City, who recently claimed bankruptcy, has announced the closing of all their stores effective immediately. Now, the CEO of Party City said their debt was so big they couldn't make their balloon payment.
Yeah. That one. Kapow! That gets a kapow. Yeah, I love that one. Did you know that they actually, Bob, did you know that Party City actually sent some of their higher-ups to China for a buyer's meeting, and then they shut the company down, leaving them stranded? Did you know that?
No,
That's a true story. That's not I'm not joking. They sent people there for a buyer's meeting, like, "Hey, look at this new supplies," and then they got there, and then they're like, "Oh, let's shut the whole company down," and then they had no way to get home.
Well, you know, I actually knew they were in trouble because I went to Party City, and the person at the front said, "You're not invited."
I like that too. Kapow! That gets another kapow.
Hey, my wife.
This is a very important feature of the Zany Report, you guys. This is where we go back in time and revisit a past Zany Report joke. I've been doing the Zany Report dating back to the early 80s on KLOS radio.
Nice.
Through Bob and Tom and everybody else through the years. So what I'm going to do is revisit a past Zany Report joke. Now, this is at great risk to both our three of our healths, but I'm going to do it. Bear with me. Ready?
Sure.
Okay. It worked. Here it is, October 4th, 2016. Fun fact you should know. Do you know, guys, Bill Clinton went to college in England?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. He said he loves studying abroad, but doesn't remember her name.
Hold on. That joke was from 2016.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that joke be from...
No. The fact that it's from 2016 is what makes it
1998.
a true classic. I love it.
But it wasn't too late. 2016? It was old already. All right, sorry, Bob.
Yeah, it was an old joke already, and that's what you bring to the show, Tom. I think the way you just make people feel bad about themselves.
That's what Tuttle said. That's what our friend Tuttle said. Now we have two of our most famous or reoccurring bits monthly. We have a very good friend, a stunt boy, a radio guy named Tuttle, and he says the same thing. He says that every time he comes on the show, he feels terrible about himself.
I'm sorry, Bob.
No, that's okay. I'm actually kidding. I could give a crap. Listen, you guys, my dry bar comedy special, you go to YouTube, you can check that out there. You go to bobzany.net, check it out there, see where I'm headed next.
Yes, sir.
The dry bar special, millions upon millions. Please watch it and share it and like it. That's really important, I hear. The like it.
Yeah.
But, I have over 8.5 million views on YouTube alone and over 12 likes. So this is really building.
Well, Bob, we love you,
it's
man.
like 120,000. Who cares?
We're lucky to be able to talk to you. And when are you at Porky's again so we can make sure?
I'm going to be there in November. I believe it's the 21st, 22nd, but we have time to fix that and post.
Okay.
And they got some great shows until then, so check that out. And I'll be talking again in a month.
Yes, sir.
If Tom allows it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He loved it.
I see Tom at the focus group going, nah, it didn't work.
No. Don't let his face.
There's no focus or group.
I know.
We'll talk to you soon, man.
I understand. You guys are the best. Talk to you in a month.
See you, Bob. See you, dude. That's Bob Zany out on the road, taking time to zoom in from us.
That's old school radio. You're in 10 minutes. That's it.
He knows. He gave us a tight 12, man. He gave us a tight 12. We actually stretched it out a little bit. You notice? He probably threw a couple of jokes off the side of it because we were the ones that wasted 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Tight 12 and he's out.
You're like, you don't need to say anything. It's just, you just sit there and I do the thing.
Let's go back to your idea for a second because you take a lot of heat on this show for having dumb ideas. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am one of the only people that doesn't think your ideas are dumb, and that's why I'm still here, okay? And I think this idea of going full radio is goddamn genius. No one's doing that. All radio shows are trying to be podcasts, and everybody else has a podcast, and you hit the nail on the head. When Hawk Tua gets a podcast, what are we supposed to do to set ourselves apart? I got the idea. We got to go and find the comedians that aren't selling tickets that are able to call into our show for free and tell us jokes that aren't funny and put that on the radio. And that's going to do it.
Now, it may be the horse salesman in New York when the automobile industry exploded.
Yeah.
And he walked out in Times Square and he's like, it's all cars now. There's only one horse. And then he's like, there's a market for horses. And then he's mistaken. But, it is more rare to have a radio show by, almost 1,000 to 1 now.
It's also more rare to use candlelight every night, it's kind of the same argument, is it not?
But I I was watching Bob Zaney do his Zaney Report on Bob and Tom.
He's done he's literally done it over 10,000 times, I think.
And then it's weird because it shocked me back to morning radio when I'm watching Bob and Tom and they're sitting.
There's an energy to it, right?
There's the producers in a separate room. Yeah. Everybody's in a separate room, which is unique to radio.
We should have done that here. I think our employees would still be here if we had separate rooms. Yeah. If Sam had been in a separate room, she'd still be here. If Butler had been in a separate room, they'd still be here. Tony, he passed away. People don't know that.
Do you think that that podcasts will have the same evolution as, because I'm sure radio started out all in the same room, and then slowly but surely after 100 years, they separated into rooms, and then the peak radio in the 90s, everybody's in a separate bulletproof room.
That was always for fidelity, right?
Yeah, so you couldn't hear. I think it's so they could talk ass about each other.
That's what I did. I was like, this guy's nuts. I can't wait to quit this hunk of crap.
Then you just go back into doing the show.
I like you. It's not true. It's not true.
But it works.
You're like, and we'll be right back with Tom and Dad. And you click, and you're like, God damn, I hate that guy. And then you go back, and you're like, you're the funniest. I love all your ideas, including your radio one. I like you.
Maybe we should put a piece of glass in between us and start separating.
Hold on, I like this idea.
What if I started going in the other room and we put a piece of glass in the...
Well, our original idea was to cut a hole in the wall directly behind you. People can see it right under you. We're going to cut a hole right there. That way I could be in here and you could be in your office, because I don't think people understand the way that our studio is set up when we get in here in the mornings. I come into the main studio, set it up, and then I kind of use this as my home base, whereas you go into the business office and kind of use that as your home base. We're in separate rooms most of the day, and we don't talk unless we're on the air. Right?
No, we do a little chit-chat.
A little bit. It's usually us bitching about our families. Right? We bitch about our families a little bit.
I'll come in here with a cockamamie idea that I'll talk myself out of at the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
I'll be like, how about we do this? And then I'm like, no.
I usually present some sort of song to you as like an offering, and then you'll like it, but then I'll hate it. You know what I mean? Like it's already effed out in my mind, and I absolutely hate it.
Didn't Bob and Tom end up doing their show and someone moved to an island?
Yeah, I think they did. I think one of them.
Do they still do a show?
Damn it! If Bob Zaney wasn't such a pro and had not pieced out, we could have picked his brain about Bob and Tom. I'm going to email him about that. We said, look, dude, we're doing this a little differently. You don't have to give us the straight 12. In fact, I'll let you talk. Bob, I'll give you a full hour. What do you want, buddy? But he could explain to us. But yes, one of them moved away. A lot of big time radio guys have done this. Tom Joyner did this. I think for the Tom Joyner morning show, he went and would be at his home studio, and his entire cast would come into the studio and do the show, but he was never there. He was at his home.
Yeah. It's like a news junkie right now.
I know. I was going to make some comment. I was going to say how insulting that is. Then I was like, don't say that.
Yeah. But I guess if your cadence is, it would be harder for me and you, and we've talked about it. That would be the ultimate, I guess, dream job in talk radio or talk show or podcast is to do your podcast from your home and wherever you want. Well,
you and I are crazy, and let me. We're jaded and weird. we look at the radio show with such different eyes than most people do. Like, they just flipped they just flipped up the shows down there in Tampa at the Bone. And there are, like, I went and looked to see what the lineup is. You know, Drew's over there, and John Senning, his producer, is now getting his own show. And you look, and then you've got these, like, younger guys. And you and I thought this is dead. We don't think about this. But you got, like, younger guys that are being slid into these producer spots that would have been like me sliding into producing the Monsters or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're like literally like, holy crap, I did it. I'm finally doing morning radio, or I'm finally doing radio. And, like, it's crazy that we've been doing this for so long, even on our own terms, where I can't even wrap my brain around that idea.
Yeah. Well, because you still, and that's where people, I think, misunderstand.
And that's not shade, because, like, that's Tampa's a bigger market, and that's a definitely a hard thing to do. But there are people still getting radio jobs that are excited to get radio jobs.
100%.
It's just not a lot of them.
Well, but I think anybody that's trying to get an audience, because it's still an aspect of, hey, this company that's established is putting you on a show at a time slot, and presenting and showing their audience.
It's a validation, right? It's belief.
Yeah, but they're also exposing their audience that are tuned in every day to a new person. So you would love that opportunity. You'd also love the opportunity to get on any big network of any kind, you know, like to get on a big podcast network or a network of another show. I've been seeing this lately in, like, the sports podcasts I listen to, that now, like, and it's all becoming big corporate anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's never going to be, the bigger podcasts are always going to restructure and become more corporate, because that's what capitalism does, right?
Sure.
It's like you want to make more money and get bigger.
The goal is not, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So they're always going to take, like, you know, Rogan or some of your biggest shows, and then you get a sales team, you get a marketing team, and then with that, to grow the network, because that's all it is, selling commercials, is then you start exposing new shows to that audience. So I've seen podcasts where they start releasing different shows in their own feed and say, hey, you might like this. And it's the network's attempt to build the popularity of other shows. Where that becomes difficult is, this happened to Barstool and Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
And it was a big lawsuit back in the day. Remember when he started promoting that, it was this chick's podcast.
Call Your Daddy podcast.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then his argument was, like, we put her on, she blew up. And then she was like, well, I'll just do this on my own. Do it on my own. Right. And he's like, no, well, hold on. I exposed you to my audience.
We see this in advertising.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, we have had, we're very lucky that we haven't had this happen very, very often. But in radio, you will have a client come to you, they'll buy, it'll work, and then they'll realize that, like, oh, well, like, it's working, so maybe I'll just pull back and just let the residual of what I did just keep going.
Yeah.
It's
the only difference between that and this is that once that person has downloads and the audience knows about the show and likes it, the audience will just go and download it anywhere else. Like, it doesn't need to be in the feed necessarily. And maybe there's a certain, like,
it's not their business deal. Yeah.
But and then it becomes like non-competes. That becomes real muddy, because how are you going to do a non-compete in podcasting? Because once it's on the internet, it's global. So we've been all through this and stuff. So it's like with the old school radio model, it's like, all right, if we give you a chance to get on this local the Central Florida market, then you have a non-compete. You can't work anywhere in this market for X amount of years, right? And that was the way they did it. But now, because of the internet's global, then it becomes
the world
almost
changed.
impossible.
Yeah, it changed.
But then how do you lock down those shows? And maybe those shows just realize, it's better to partner with a bigger market that has a sales force and stuff than do it on my own, because it's too hard.
Because it's not a guaranteed home run. Like, if you're you're gonna like go somewhere, they funded you, and then you're gonna take it and do it on your own, you better damn sure make sure that you know how to do what they did.
Yeah, and because then you have to now have your own salespeople, your own promotional people, you know,
Right.
and just like better to partner with someone that has all that, just funnels you the
Sure.
commercials, and then you just have to worry about your show.
Yeah.
Just like old school radio. It's like they used to only, you know, nowadays, like me and Daniel, we do everything. We wear all hats: engineering, sales, marketing, events, everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Branding.
we have people that help us, but it's our decision ultimately, which doesn't happen in any other entertainment industry. It's usually the quote unquote talent. That's just what they call it. Just has to worry about putting on the entertainment, and everybody else works the business. You got a sales force, you got a promotions, you know, you got managers, and that's the corporate structure,
And that's what kind of keeps it moving along.
Yeah. And then so it's like, and I think about this too, because like if me and you partnered with a bigger company that just fed us commercials, that may be easier. But then it does take away some of the
autonomy of picking your own commercials, the relationship with the client.
Control.
Well, what I would say, you know, just to pipe in here is the weaker side of the business part, because I'm not in there all the time, is that I think that wouldn't work as well for us, because effectively the relationship that you and Tracy seem to have with our clients is way more important to me as the other side than just somebody feeding me commercials and I read it. There's no value in that. You know, that doesn't help me have a relationship with like Modern Plumbing or with our friends at,
Mo.
like Mo DeWitt. Exactly. Like those are relations, like our advertising is way different. Sorry, we're going heavy business.
No.
I like this though. It's fun. It's fun.
It just shows you that, and there's no right way to do it, but you know, with podcasts trying to expose themselves to a different audience.
No, but you're right.
Because you can't just start a podcast and get instantly popular. That's the insane rarity. It's like a one-hit wonder. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
How do you make a one-hit wonder? Well, it's impossible to set out for that to be your goal and you hit it every time. You can't, you know what I'm saying?
No.
It's random.
It won't work.
And so, but what is possible is for you to make a song that a lot of radio stations and other people are willing to play and promote, and then it exposes it to lots of millions of ears. And so without that exposure, it is hard to get to the next level to make any money. So you need, so if you're an up and coming any entertainer or talk show or whatever, you want the iHeart to give you your show so you could expose you to an audience so that you have any power at all. Because without the people listening, there's no power.
There's nothing.
And you have nothing. You can't sell anything. You can't make any money.
And that's what I mean. It is a nothing. Going back to what you were saying, and to stay on old school radio and the stuff that I liked, there are some things in old school radio that I personally was never able to do that I would like to bring to the show.
Okay.
A couple of things. I would like to, I've always wanted to, this is purely selfish, and you can crap on this if you want. This is what this is for. I want to give away a car. I want to give away a motorcycle. I have always wanted to give somebody, and they have to. I want to give a motorcycle to someone who's not going to ride it. Like I want to give. I want to give a $23,000 Harley Davidson Electra Glide to a morbidly obese white lady that can't ride it. She can't ride it,
and she never will.
Never will. And then so she takes the payout.
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to give away a car, man.
Yeah.
I want to do
to someone who doesn't deserve it.
Exactly. To a
doesn't even need it.
Piece of ass. Just a horrible. Like I don't even need a car. I'm rich. Give him a car. You know how many times that happened? Oh, tons. Just tons of times. People giving away motorcycles. And some guy's like, I don't need this crap.
Because they're worried. Because the corporate is super concerned about doing it fairly and doing it by the book, right?
But why?
Just because they have
because that's the way.
Because without they have a possibility of being sued. Everything with big corporations is about not getting sued.
Let's do teeth for Christmas next Christmas. We've got enough time if we start doing it now. Let's give away. How many sets could we get? How
teeth
many sets?
Is hard.
How many sets? It's one good set.
You know, like
one good set of teeth, full teeth. I want to do a full mouth extraction, full big Buseys, full big Gary Delabates.
You know, I'm surprised.
Let's give away something crazy. Let's give away a breast augmentation. That's it. That's it. Hold on. I did it. We're giving away a breast augmentation. And a labiaplasty. Do you know what that is? A labiaplasty?
I have an idea, but I'm not sure what the plasty is.
Yeah, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you off the air. So we're giving away. Oh, the chat room's saying teas and teeth. That's
Okay.
EJ. That's one of the better things you've ever said, dude.
Like
What are you on Ginkgo biloba this morning? Like
an extreme makeover?
Yeah. Let's do the swan. Tom and Dan present the swan. We give you hair. We give you boobs. We give you a labiaplasty.
You know,
We give you medical guided weight loss, courtesy of Dr. Powers. He may not want to be involved. I'll cut that out.
I know that we are older now, so we're
Medical marijuana.
We're not. That we could do.
We'll give you medical marijuana.
But I don't hear too much about people getting breast augmentations.
No, it's more popular than it's ever been.
That's what I would think so.
Children are getting it
It's
done
just.
now. Well, that was under Biden. Trump's going to shut it down. But
it's gotten easier, I imagine.
Yeah.
But is the popularity still there? Because in the 90s, that's it all was.
We're back there. We're back.
Boob jobs.
Oh, we're back to boob jobs, baby. I think we're back.
I just don't.
People don't talk about it
see
as much.
I know they hide
And
it.
I think people want a subtle. You want a subtle boob job. You don't like. You don't want to get the big old grand tetons. You don't. You don't go get the Dixie Dynamite.
It just you make them better. It's like more of a lift, a resculpture.
Yeah, it's more of a freshening
How much are we talking?
for
Because back
for
in
a good one.
Back in the day, it was like $5,000.
For a good one, about 8.
8,000.
And that's not even the best. That's mid range. I feel like that's like a couple trim levels down.
And where is a local plastic surgery center that does that? They're
All over.
right?
All over. There's a bunch near you.
Yeah,
Castleberry got a ton of plastic surgery. They're making people look great again in Castleberry. That's their slogan.
We need to talk to you, a plastic surgeon. And just that's a good weird job Wednesday. If someone knows a plastic surgeon,
Wait a minute, I don't want to do a
promote
weird.
him.
No, I don't want to do a weird job. I want to give away a breast augmentation. I'm coming to you with $1 million idea.
It's only $1 million idea if the plastic surgeon wants to advertise with us.
Will. Tracy's on it. Tracy's already on it.
All right.
Oh, Kupo Jace says we give away a breast augmentation for a woman, and we do a breast reduction for a fat man. That's not bad.
Okay, all right. But
I feel like we are inching into Buckethead territory with some of these ideas.
That's what
then I'm going to get an email from him because he's back in town. He's stealing my ideas.
I do like the idea of someone like morbidly obese, like EJ, that only reducing his breasts. So
the rest of him's still fat.
Yeah, that he has like a bird chest, but big fat everywhere else.
A bird pair.
Yeah.
Bird on the top, hair on the bottom.
But it's all ribs, like you see his ribs. And I guess saggy.
Yeah, and a big fat pear ass.
All right.
Did you know the only pants that a big fat pear ass like EJ can wear are Carhartts? Did you know that? Carhartts, home of the pear ass.
All right, well, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome to Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We are live on Twitch and YouTube right now, and we'd love for you to join us. Just go to either of those sites and search at Tom and Dan Live, like and subscribe. That's what the people say.
And this Saturday at one of our brand new watering holes, 1010 Brewery, which we've known Mike, the owner of 1010, for a lot of years.
He gave us a shot when nobody else would, and we were like, hey, we don't have any money, and we need some beer. And Mike was like, hey, I'm a distributor. This keg fell off the truck.
And we watched him start his brewery.
And we watched him start his brewery, kind of like we started this show, and it's really good to see him. He's really kicking butt, man.
And this Saturday, they're doing an amateur rib contest, live music, beer, of course, delicious 1010 beer, charity raffle, and you can eat some delicious ribs.
Yeah.
And that is this Saturday, January 11th at 1010 Brewery. So let's get into some Weird Job.
All right, buddy. It is time for the Weird Job Wednesday theme song. Oh, it's not going to play.
No,
No, I can do this. I can play this. Hold on, watch this. Let's see if I can do this. Weird.
I could sing it again.
No. That's what happened last time, and I didn't fix it. I knew I was forgetting something. Watch this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right here. I'm gonna be able to do it. We are right here in front of one of the people that I didn't want to do this in front of. You don't want to drop the ball. You don't want to drop the ball. It's somebody important. Somebody important's here, Dad. You're dropping the ball. So we're going to have to go back into the Wayback Machine, and we're going to do this one right here. Sorry.
Oh. What is this one?
It's a listener sent in one.
Oh, okay.
It's real bad. But this is a little bop, right? This is a bop.
I don't remember. I remember we used to play listener submitted ones before AI.
When I mess up, we're back to doing it, right? Here we go.
Tom had a crazy idea.
Oh, God.
Oh, for a brand new Tom and Dan bit. Wow, wow. Dan totally loved it.
I picked the wrong one, didn't I? Yeah, let's go ahead and change that out. Yeah, I did pick the worst one. I did.
Why is it even saved?
I don't know. I can't even understand what that man is saying.
Parentheses, bad, the worst one we've ever had.
Yeah, that is the worst one. I have a feeling that our listeners are going to really wear me out for this one. But hey, why don't you introduce our guest, sir?
So we have the brand new executive director of the Orange County Regional History Center, Azalea Santana. How you doing, Azalea?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Thanks for being here.
So now
I'm glad you didn't say her name the way I was going to say it. I was going to blow it.
So let's talk about how you became the executive director of the History Center, because it's a pretty interesting job, which I really don't even. I know what an executive director kind of is, kind of like the CEO, maybe, but maybe I'm wrong.
I was also kind of peeping your LinkedIn a little bit, and you've had some pretty cool jobs. I mean, you've done some stuff.
Yeah.
And one of them being, like curating privately. That sounds truly insanity to me, and sounds super fun and cool. So, hey, nice to meet you, and thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Well, it's a very interesting profession. I think for me, I've always loved being in arts and culture. And so going to the History Center has been one of my dreams, to be able to be involved in working with collections directly and working with exhibitions and the awesome staff that we have. Scotty's here today with us. And so we're really excited. But I have a very interesting, unusual way that I went into being in my current job today. Like, I went to University of Florida. It was my undergrad. My actual degree is actually art history and studio art. Cool. I got a master's in business because I really wanted to see, just have a degree that I think could be universal for a lot of different professional fields. And then it was a lot of fun. I met my husband in college. I really wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with an art history degree. Usually you go into teaching, you go into curatorial work.
I was doing a music degree. You get made fun of a lot. Yeah. Like your friends that have degrees that they feel are more, I don't know, worthy or valuable. They are like, music guy. Huh? Then I chose like radio, and that's even worse than music. I found out.
When my sons maybe eventually go to college and they choose an art degree, I'm going to be like, no! That may be wrong to say.
All of my friends did like your degree. Like, all of my friends were artists.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I went to UF as a pre-med major. I was going to go into medicine.
That's what I'll be real mad. They go into college to be a doctor, and I'm like, yes.
Oh, no, you did the switch?
And they're like, I'm switching to art. I'm like, no.
That's the 180, right? When you're going the med lane.
I'm like, it'd be better if you just stopped that all.
And then you just throw it in reverse and put a beret on.
It's true. It's true. I had to break the news to my parents. My parents are from the Philippines, and so
they must have been mad.
They were like, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor. What are you going to go into? And then pre-med was the route that I was going to take, and then I switched majors my junior year of college.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I did that too. I transferred my junior year. Oh, we got a lot in common.
Yes.
You can make your parents mad doing stuff like that. I went from Flagler private school. I'm like, I'm going to UCF radio.
Yep. Yeah, so it was what was really the entree for me switching majors is I was in a dance and medicine course. It was offered, UF has a really wonderful arts and medicine program, and it was
it's called dance and medicine?
Well, it was a class. It was a class as part of the arts and medicine program.
But I'm on my medicine. I'm dancing.
And because I was a former dancer, I was in a dance company when I was in high school, and so I thought this would be a fun class to take. It was a great elective for my pre-med track.
Yeah.
And and ended up switching altogether. It was like my entree into thinking more about the arts, and then I ended up, minoring in visual arts, and then that became a whole major. So for me, it was really a segue into really finding what I truly loved and not necessarily the path that I thought I should have taken.
So you needed to hear this, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
He's obsessed and concerned with his sons finding that right thing.
Yeah.
And for some people that are highly successful currently in front of us, they take a little bit of time to wander the scape to figure out what they're going to do. They don't have to have it figured out immediately.
Yeah.
I just want to point out success stories here to help your anxiety because he is sort of obsessed with the wanderer, the person that when they do go to UF and their first major, they don't when I first got to Flagler, I didn't declare. I didn't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Now there's a little difference between my sons, the eternal wanderers, and you who just got into one thing, achieved, and then achieved the next thing, and then I'm going to achieve at this, achieve. There's an achievement aspect of this that is like, well, as long as you achieve at everything you do, you'll be fine. But if you just keep wandering and never even pick anything you want to do, like, what do you want to do? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Because it does sound like you are an achiever and you a dancer, and then you're like, pre-med. Even all of my friends, including me, pre-med was never even on the table. No one even jokes. Even had the fantasy. We never even thought that being a doctor was at all possible. You might have well been I want to ride the dragon from Never Ending Story. It would be the same as saying I want to become a doctor.
Actually, there are some replicas of Falcor, I believe. You can make that happen.
Yeah. That's closer.
It is easier to do that.
Easier than being a doctor.
There's a guy out in Eustis that actually has one of the last movie quality white mega dog.
Wow.
Whatever they are.
Yeah.
This it's interesting because now you end up being the executive director of the History Center and having a diversified background in a lot of different areas does make you uniquely qualified to be because the history history is broad. It's not just if you
it's also good and bad too. I mean there's sometimes you're doing exhibits on stuff that it's this is something that we're remembering because it's not good, and then you're doing stuff on hey, we're remembering this because we can't let it be forgotten because it's so incredibly awesome and people don't value it anymore.
But it is also it's the history of art, a history of science. Is all history. It encompasses everything. So having being a Renaissance woman with knowing a little bit about everything does make it probably easier to just understand the concept of all right, we need to celebrate the history of everything. Do you
have a favorite style of art that when you were studying?
Oh, it's so funny. We had this question earlier, and I can't say. It's like asking what's your favorite artist. I think for me, I do gravitate more towards contemporary art. When I was at the Orlando Museum of Art, I was an associate curator there, and I had so much fun working with living artists and really curating shows that really resonated to the community. And that's just what I love, learning more about what were they thinking when they painted this, or what was the thought process and developing their specific process. So I would say contemporary art is really my favorite, but I really do have an appreciation with the classics, Now,
if you ask me my favorite artist, it's Snoop Dogg. Easy. Here's why. Yeah. Because when I first saw Snoop Dogg, it was murder was the case. He was convicted of murder.
Yeah.
And then in 2024, Snoop Dogg, the mascot of the United States Olympics.
Yeah.
He has a range.
He does have a range.
And that's an unbelievable artist to me.
You're actually saying something that's actually quite serious. The artist for all of Snoop Dogg's albums, especially his legendary breakthrough Doggy Style, he just passed away at the end of 2024.
No, really?
Yeah, and he is a legendary guy. And if anybody in Orlando, any of our art partners that we work with, because we are the center of art in Orlando, Tom and Dan, we got to get this Snoop Dogg. We got to get this guy's collection into our town.
Do you know?
Because he has all the album. I'd have to Google it, but I'll Google it. But
very important. important. But
Yeah, I'll get the name for you. I'll write it down. I promise. We got to get that guy. We got to get those Snoop Dogg pictures in here, man.
Now, Azella, what even made you decide that this was a job that you'd want to do? Because I know that for like the past 10 years, you're going to work for yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so when I had the major that I did, I graduated with art history. It was one of those situations where, well, what am I going to do with it, right? I ended up, wanting to do something that I realized I was more of a social person. At some point, I did an internship in art conservation. I had this degree. I also had some science background with my coursework as an undergrad student, and thought maybe I could test art, art conservation. Did an internship. Highly recommend internships because it tells you whether or not you like something or you don't. And I realized it was not as I'm a social person. I like to be around people. I like to interact and collaborate. And it was a very much like you're in your studio, you're working really closely with the objects. And as much as I love that I was very detail oriented, it was something that I knew I couldn't do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I needed a little bit more complexity in my professional, career. And so for me, I moved back to Orlando. My husband and I moved back to Orlando, and was able to get my foot in the door at the Orlando Museum of Art. And that was really my entree into working in museums. And I realized I loved it. I worked with the kids. I worked in the education department.
Awesome.
I was a docent. So I allowed me to kind of learn all the aspects of working in education. But really kind of set the tone as to this is what I want to do, and learning about, how to curate exhibitions and how to work with partners across the board. And just really solidified my love for working in a museum. And so that's kind of essentially where I ended up here. I was at UCF for 10 years, loved it. The University of Central Florida was just a really great university. There was a lot of collaborations happening, and it really kind of built a lot of the opportunity for me to learn more about collaborations from a larger scale, but also how it's connected to education, and developed a lot of really great relationships there. And
That's awesome.
For me, the History Center was sort of that next step to really see how all those components come together with my curatorial background and then philanthropy background, and then obviously working in education. It was really a great opportunity to see what I can do, and really work with a wonderful team. And the staff is amazing. Orange County government is just a really wonderful place to work at. And I'm just excited to be able to see what I can do with the team.
Well, just after talking to you for 5 minutes, I'd hire you to be the president of this company.
I'd hire you to be the president of anything. My God. I feel very confident that with anything you tell me. You're like, do this. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You mentioned you were a docent, and I was like, oh, my God, I'm too dumb to even understand what that is. I can't even guess what that is.
You said that, too, and I was like, docent. I was like, Trayson?
I don't even, what is a docent?
So a docent is essentially someone who's trained. Sometimes it's a volunteer. Usually it's a volunteer. A lot of our arts and culture organizations, especially museum institutions, rely on docents to help give and provide tours to educate the public about its collections, about its temporary exhibitions.
Oh, we need a docent here in the studio.
The intern.
We need a hot 24-year-old docent giving tours of this place.
Yes.
Get out there, give a tour.
So it's an intern.
Yeah. There's people at the door. Take them and show them the bathroom. There's a lot of famous signatures in there. That's where the tour would conclude. We're gonna need a gift shop. We're gonna need a gift shop.
Yeah.
Exit through the gift shop. I've seen it.
Yeah. It's like when
Mr. Paintbrush, or what is it? Mr. Brainwash.
Yeah,
Mr. Paintbrush.
Mr. Paintbrush.
Oh my God, I'm becoming dumb.
That might be Snoop Dogg's artist.
Yeah, Mr. Paintbrush. Yeah, that's him.
So you worked at a museum, the Orlando Art Museum, and then
We love those guys.
And then, what are some of when I'm sure when you came over to the History Center, you thought to yourself what am I gonna bring? If I was a new executive director, first thing, clean house.
You have to. You have to say.
Sorry, Scotty.
Scotty's not gonna like this. But you have to.
I'm trying to get your job.
You
now.
also have to let.
She's way better of a boss than I am.
Much like Rex Ryan, who is super confident that he's going to get that Jets gig again. He has said that he ain't going to let old Aaron Rodgers, if he comes back, do this whole, like, I ain't coming to practice because I got an ayahuasca hangover. He is going to say that ain't going to fly.
And by the way, I like how he's like, you know what? The Jets were bad 20 years ago when I was the coach. I'm going to be bad again when 20
I'm
years
coming
later.
back, baby.
I'm like, what is that going to do?
I have a question for you. What is the absolute? So, what's the patient one starting point? How do you curate? Like, how do you even start when somebody comes and they have a collection and they want to? Like, how do you even? Is it like selecting songs on a set list, like a band would do? Like, how do you present it in the right order so you're telling the story that the artist is trying to tell with their collection? It seems like something that maybe you don't ever think you got right.
No, I mean, I think it obviously depends on the type of exhibitions you're curating. You know, obviously, I'm at the History Center, so you think about the objects that you have in your collection if you're curating from your collection. But I think every curator is different. Every curator has their own style, and they also have their own, like, interests, right? And so for me, when I was curating, you know, when I was at the OMA, I started curating some small exhibitions of works of artists living in the community. And it was a small little gallery space. It was free to the public. And it was more about showcasing their work as an artist and their process. But I think every curator, when they're looking at objects, they're looking at an idea. And a lot of it stems from an idea, you know, or maybe it's a subject matter that they want to present through the curation of an exhibition, you know, and that could mean bringing in different artists. It could be bringing different objects and working with writers to kind of see, like, how's the best way to present this material. And I feel like, especially in Central Florida, we have so many talented curators in our community, so many arts and culture organizations that are doing really cool work. I highly encourage, you know, although I'm at the History Center and I want to promote the History Center as much as I can, I feel like there's so much opportunity to be able to see and witness a lot of the different exhibitions that pinpoint a lot of different things and facets about Central Florida. And I think for me,
you nailed it. Like what we've learned in working with a lot of art partners, including the History Center, is that once you go to one, you want to go to the others and support them all. It becomes that sort of thing. And because these are things that, especially with our show, what I've heard with our listeners is that we really overlooked, and I think most people do, but you really overlook these type of institutions within your community and how much of a value, how cheap some of the things you can do, some of the free things they offer that you don't take advantage of. You know, like the Thursdays and stuff like that, where you can go and you can, like, do something you've never ever done before, and you're not really, you're not in. You're not like feeling bad later because you were $70 in, you know?
It's also, I've found recently, and we'll talk about the history of punk rock and what you guys are doing coming up. Because when I saw, we were talking about you bringing in someone from the Punk Rock Museum from Vegas. So me and Daniel remember when it opened.
Yeah, we did.
So when I start seeing like super interesting things that I'm interested in, like the history of punk rock, because I remember, you know, and then it reminds me how old I'm getting because now, like, you know, the Orange County Regional History Center is bringing up history that I'm interested in, because I think people, like, you know, you grow up and when you're young, you look at history like, oh, that you like, why are these people interested in all this history? And then all of a sudden you get to middle age, and then you're now
a part of
it. And then you're like, oh, I remember that in my 20s. Like, this
when
was,
you slow down, you're making less history, right?
Yeah,
like you're kind of enjoying what was made.
And then there's human psychology around history becoming more important as you age, which is interesting too. I remember, like, I brought my sons down to Marco Island, and their great grandparents are a part of, like, Marco Island's local history museum down there, and they've got a room dedicated to them, and because they were such a part of building that community. And I was, you know, my sons, they're 9 and 10, and they don't have the perspective yet to appreciate.
Like, to me, I'm like, holy crap, that's insane. Your grandparents, your great grandparents have a room dedicated to them in the History Center of Marco Island. And the kids are like, whatever.
Because they can't even comprehend it, because they're not old enough to have the life experience to appreciate something like that. And I feel like you get to an age where you're like, oh, now I could truly appreciate what is being shown to me in the history, because you start.
I have to. I'm dying.
You're a part of it.
I'm dying. I have to appreciate this stuff before I die.
And so I'm sure there's, like, and I'm sure you guys have seen that too. There's, like, a certain age where, like, people really truly appreciate it more.
Are you still like? Are you seeing younger people? What would you guys say?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would say that, but more what I've observed, it's just been a year and a half for me there at the History Center, but one of the things that I've observed is what Tom is talking about, where people begin to realize they are living history. They have lived history, and it's one of the things we've come on the show to talk about Orlando Collected. I think that's going to be something we'll be emphasizing there, is that these objects, people had them in their attic, in their closet, and since I've been at the History Center, I've donated things that were personal belongings. An NSYNC ticket. I was at the last ever NSYNC concert. Things like that. That you wonder why you were holding on to it, and then
I wonder
turns
if my
out,
wife was at that.
Well, it's like the Music Mayhem. It's like so many local people live that. Like
exactly.
We know Jim, and there's like so many. Like I was like, it's part of this.
Yeah.
You start remembering. Oh, I remember when the Descendants came into town, and you start looking at flyers, and you're like, and you're truly a part of it. But then it makes you feel old because you're like, oh, it's 25 years ago. 25 years.
Yeah. There's that too.
But it's
very
important, and you appreciate it.
Well, it's an earmark. Like, I like that. Selfishly, I know that in the last couple of years, Tom and I have had the opportunity to work more with you guys. Yeah. And selfishly, I like it because it gives me the opportunity to almost slow down, and I get to see my own city propped up, like things that I don't want forgotten.
Absolutely.
Like the figurehead and stuff that we've been a part of, that I look at it and I'm like, man, it's a good thing that this is here. Because I'm the type of person where if something's very sad to me, or like when my parents passed away, I kind of took all those memories, I sold everything, I just got it out. But that was wrong. It was probably not the right thing to do. Like, I look back on that now and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should have just had somebody else do it. Because it needed to probably be handled properly, not just flush it down the toilet kind of thing. So I don't know. There's my Jerry's final thought.
So if we're kind of doing a weird job, and being the executive director of a history center is kind of weird.
It is very weird. It's a positive thing.
No, it's unusual. It's unique. Whereas I've only met one. But
with a cool name. So it's like,
do you talk to other executive directors of other history centers that are regional and find out what they're doing?
Swap ideas.
Is there like a collective of executives that are like, hey, this is what all the different Florida history centers are doing, and they all kind of do? Or is it every man for himself?
Or do you want to be the best and crush all the other ones?
I would say I'm very collaborative, and there is sort of a consortium where executive directors can reach out to each other, especially when you're in a position where you're really overseeing an organization and you want the best for that organization, and the exchange of ideas, like what's happening over there, like how can we collaborate? Are there ways that we can make a larger impact through partnership? And I think in the Central Florida, it's been so welcoming. I worked at the University of Central Florida, I worked at the OMA, and every time with those organizations, it's always been an opportunity to work with the leadership to kind of learn more about what's been happening in their organization and how can we work together. And that's what I love about it. That's what I love about Orlando. I think, I have 2 daughters, and so, for me, it's helping to kind of cultivate that next generation. Of kids that are going to grow up in Orlando. But I feel like there is a huge support system in our organization. And for me, there's a lot of learning. We're growing fast, and we have such amazing leadership. We're currently in a campaign right now with United Arts, and Jennifer Evans is an amazing leader and has been really connecting all the organizations together universally. And so for us and for myself, being able to kind of confide and, have conversations with other executive directors within the community has been really critical. And it's a lot of fun. I like to learn about what they're doing. I like to, learn more about, where can we grow together as a community.
I wonder what they would do to me if I declared myself Baldwin Park Executive Director of History. I'm the executive director of Baldwin Park History.
I think they would say you can have it.
There's literally no. There's a void
it was
of
a
history.
naval
There's great history here. Actually, Brendan
the people
is.
here are horrible here.
Brendan is.
Well, have you met any of the people that live around here? Oh my God, they're monsters.
Well, I've met people who work here.
I live here. I live.
Yeah, but they don't want us out of
They
here.
don't want me here. I don't belong here. They hate me. You know what they call me? They call me the hillbilly. They call me the little hillbilly.
We put out a magazine twice a year called Reflections, and the two issues for 2025 are going to be Orlando-centric. And so we've asked Brendan, my other half, Brendan O'Connor, to write a piece about Baldwin Park, which I still call on I'm going on Baldwin Park, because to me I was going on the naval training station, and when you would go on base when you were talking about it, but talking about that whole history and then how it led into this, and it was one of the things he studied when he was going to Rollins.
There's live ammo everywhere. Did you know that?
Yeah.
This whole place just
There's bombs in Lake Baldwin.
That's what I heard.
This is where you live too,
Yeah.
right?
I live 1 block outside of Baldwin Park.
Okay, good.
Probably
You should
more
tell people
ammo.
that. You should probably tell people that. Well, live ammo. There's more. Like right now. Oh, you go that direction? Oh my
Yeah,
God.
matters what direction. I run around here, and 1 block in some ways are.
Okay. If you go right, if you're going right, you run fast. If you go left, you're fine.
What I like about Florida history is that if you go back far enough, underwater.
Yeah.
So there's that actual start. It was like, oh, dry, and then I was starting.
And here we go. Put your hat on. Hey, thanks so much for coming in
Oh my
today.
gosh,
You were
thanks
so
for
fun.
having me.
This is awesome. I'm really excited for you guys. This is going to be cool, man.
Yeah, no,
It's always
same here.
cool to get like new, young, cool people in there to like kick ass.
And Scotty, let's talk about some of the upcoming events.
Yeah, sure.
In January, because me and Daniel, when we saw that is it the director of the Punk Rock Museum?
He's one of the founders.
One of the founders.
And I also was in Less Than Jake.
Yes.
But he's one of the
member.
founders who's going to, and he's from, lives up north in Florida. Jeremy Heilman, who was the curator of, Figurehead, he made this connection, and
Is
we're
that
gonna
the
have a program.
manager?
That dude's got the juice, man.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just calling all the favors.
Is that the manager we met
Yes.
when Les and Jake was playing
Yes.
the Orlando City?
The guy that is in the thing that was sent over? We've met that guy. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah.
know. We don't know him, but we met him. Yeah.
And that'll be January 18th. That is part of admission. So when you pay admission to the History Center that day, you can go to that program. Before that, related to Figurehead, we're going to have Bootleg TV, which was this TV show during that time that was dedicated to the music scene. And this guy has like all this footage of film from that time period, and that's going to be shown. And I believe he's going to be speaking about it as well. But that's going to be on Thursday, so that's free, as you guys know. After 5 o'clock, we're free, and you get to see that as part of it. This is all winding down because February 2nd is going to be the last day for Figurehead, so don't delay and come see us.
Yeah, and Scotty brings up a great point. Every third Thursday, it's free. Admission's free after 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and we're open till 9.
Yeah, and so you get 4 hours to explore the Orange County Regional History Center.
It's awesome.
And then just become a member. That's the easiest way to do it.
Well, that way you won't miss out when something hits, like and there's going to be a bunch of people that want to see it. You're already taken care of.
You also get this cool card that you can just whip out at parties, and people will be
I do
like,
that all the
wow,
time.
look at you.
I do that. Look at this. I do that with everything I belong to. I do that with medical marijuana, bungalow buddy, all of them. I'm like, look,
My bungalow keychain keeps getting stolen. Brendan's always like, hey, give me your keychain.
I got an extra one over there. I got an extra one over there if you want it.
Azella, thanks so much for coming in.
We
really
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for
Scotty,
having us.
So much
Always
fun.
a pleasure, and we can't wait to see what you guys do.
Yeah.
Yep. And we'll talk to you soon, I'm sure, and we'll be right back with more Corporate Time.